If you're graduating college, it can be stressful if your parents are calling you asking what your plans are afterwards. You've applied for jobs and you've heard crickets back. So what are you going to do? This episode's for you because I'm telling a story about a 22-year-old Cameron who's in this exact situation and finding a solution through wholesaling real estate. Here's what we cover on this podcast. It allows you to make a finder's fee for finding rundown homes and learn real estate investing along the way. You actually get paid to learn. You just paid to go to college. Now you're going to get paid to learn a profession as a real estate investor. This is the podcast for 10xing your income and having a plan after college. My name is David Lecco. I actually started a process called DealMachine that's helped people close 10,000 of their first real estate wholesale deals in all 50 states with the software platform I created called DealMachine.
And my name is Ryan Haywood. Back in 2019, I left my 9-to-5 job and I went full-time wholesaling real estate. In the first 14 days, I secured my first deal, making $8,500 and then never looking back. We've gone on to deal over 400 transactions since then and have a well-oiled machine in wholesale.
Yeah, so we're going to take you from securing that degree to securing that bag. Well, hey, I know this is actually graduation season. A lot of 22-year-olds out there are graduating this month, and they may be getting a call from their parents asking what their plans are after college. And that can be really stressful, especially if you don't have the answer. I was speaking with somebody this past month who I became friends with in Austin because their family lives here. And I'll call him Cameron for now. And, Cameron was like, man, my dad's calling me and I don't know what to do. I'm kind of interested in wholesaling. How would I approach getting into that, from New York, which is where I'm going to college, knowing that I'm coming back to Texas in the summer because I don't have a job. I couldn't get a job in the industry that I'm looking for. So what can we do so I can hit the ground running? So what I had Cameron do is, outside of Austin is like a very high pressure market. There's so many people moving in. That pressure causes the values to go up, right? So there is a lot of demand for homes. There's not a lot of supply. So you can wholesale anywhere. The business model is just like a pawn shop where, hey, people just bring it in because they want speed and convenience, not the best price. But I think it's easier if you go on the outskirts of your city, like 20 minutes around the border of your city. You'll have a much better time there because there's less competition from investors and people trying to buy those homes. So I said, why don't you go south? And it's like south 20 minutes of Austin and find people who are tired landlords, maybe who are absentee owned, people who have not paid their taxes. Those are 3 separate lists. You don't need to layer them on top of each other. Just go pull that list. And Cameron sent about 500 postcards to start with because Cameron was like, well, I don't have a lot of money and I don't really want to blow it all. And I counteracted that. I was like, I totally get that. If you want to do the most efficient way of getting started, you're going to get there and knock on doors because that is the cheapest way and there's no expense with that other than your time. But if you want to hit the ground running, I want to caution you from spending, $20 to send mail to 40 properties because you will get discouraged over time. You've now told your dad, I'm going to wholesale. However, the month is going to pass by. He's going to say, how's it going? You're going to say, I don't have any results. I don't think it's going to work for me because you simply just didn't do enough marketing. So in order to combat the number one reason why people quit, I said, you need to start with a number that gives you the chance of getting a deal. Yeah. So 40 properties would not be giving you a great chance of getting a deal. Sure, we've had success stories. Didn't you just interview Delano and he made what did he make in 6 days or something like that?
It was the 90,000. It was an insane amount of money.
So he found a property in 6 days. Okay, it does happen. It's just not the norm. Ryan found a property in less than 2 weeks and got it sold for $8,500. But that is not the norm. So that's why I want to caution you guys and make sure you're doing enough marketing. So I told Cameron, I was like, $500 would be like the bare minimum I would spend to test out direct mail. So we put a postcard together. It said, hey, I'm interested in buying your property, or it said, is this your property? I'm interested in purchasing it. I could close quickly and with cash. If you're interested, give me a call back and have a great day. There's a photo of the property on it because a DealMachine put the Google picture on it. And then there's also a headshot of Cameron on the postcard. So it's like friendly. Pro tip is you'll get more responses back if you actually have a photo rather than a company logo, because people prefer to deal with locals who are an actual person, by the way. It's a big misconception from people that are starting out. They think they need a big corporate presence, but I'm telling you, people prefer to do, business with local people. Ryan, you have a photo of you and your family on your postcards, right?
Yeah, we love doing that. People recognize us because we're local, and that's to me, that's always. I always love the local approach to things. I'm fine with wholesaling remotely, but I feel like you have, again, an advantage. If you're wholesaling in the market that you live in, you have an upper hand over anyone else because people, first off, they recognize your face. And so that's, for us, that's why we're putting our family picture on the postcard. You can see who you're talking with. You can see who you're meeting. A lot of times I'm the one that shows up on the appointments. So they see the postcard, they see my face, and then I show up at their house to walk through a house to do an appointment. And they're like, wow, this is very real for them versus talking to somebody over the phone. My dad, in fact, had over the weekend, he has a house. It's a family home. It's livable, but it's vacant right now. And so he'd gotten a text from a wholesaler that was out of state, and just the way that they were communicating with him, it just felt super impersonal. And to me, I'm like, this example is exactly why I prefer to have boots on the ground in the town that I work on, put my face on the postcard so people can see who they are talking to. I just feel like there's something to that, a secret power to just being able to visualize who it is you're talking to on the phone.
Right.
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
So to continue with Cameron's story, I believe Cameron got 3 calls back. One said they did want to sell, but they had a resident living in the house right now. So I told Cameron I would go to that property to be that boots on the ground. And we're just waiting for him to coordinate a time with the tenant for us to go in and look at the property. We had another person who called Cameron back. It was an 80-year-old woman and said, hey, I'm going to stay in this house until I die. And I asked Cameron, I was like, well, did you ask when she thought that might be? No, I'm just kidding. Cameron dealt with it. Cameron dealt with it very well. Said, no problem. And if you just save my number, if anything changes, which is a great way to do that. And then the guy kind of ghosted who said he had a tenant in the house and wanted us to take a look at it. So I told Cameron, do not worry about that because you cannot get caught up. You cannot force somebody to sell you their house.
No.
Okay. Don't worry about if they've ghosted you, because remember my story that I told previously with the tree that fell in the house. She said she had no idea. She wanted an offer. I gave her an offer and she ghosted me for a week, but I stayed friendly and I said, hey, are you still interested in selling your house? Like a few times. Yeah. And then she replied finally, yes, let's do it. So people just need time to think sometimes. And so you need to change your energy from focusing so much on like, oh, that's my deal, that's my house, I should get it, to just finding more houses, getting in touch with more homeowners. Yep. That's going to be the path to success. So I told Cameron, why don't you follow up in 1 week and then just say the same thing I did. I was like, hey, are you still interested in getting an offer on your house? And in the meantime, focusing on finding more homes. So TBD, but that's a great, this is a great option for somebody who's in college, doesn't know what to do. I think this generation may be having tougher time finding a job, especially if you're looking for like general, degree, like marketing, fashion, like it can be tough to get your foot in the door. So in the meantime, I think this generation really wants the freedom to not have a boss that tells them they can't go to Monster Jam. You know, they definitely just want that flexibility. So wholesaling is a great business model for doing that. And it also teaches really valuable skills that'll help build wealth in the future. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So like wholesaling is the entryway, but getting an actual property that you own as a rental property is powerful. Because 5 years ago, I bought a house for $194,000 and it rented for like $1,500. And 5 years later, nobody was renting this house anymore. It cash flowed like $300 a month, you know. But I realized the rents had gone up to $2,800 in the area because the area had appreciated so much. So when people are looking for houses to rent, they were not filtering for my original rent price of $1,500, right? The low end of what they were filtering for in Zillow was probably like $2,000. So I changed the price to like $2,500. I literally couldn't believe it. And then I got a lot of influx of attention, right? So it's so interesting how just holding that property, the rent has gone up. My mortgage has stayed the same. So now instead of cash flowing $300 a month, I'm cash flowing, what is the price difference there? I mean, like $1,100 a month. And now the value of the actual house, if you go on the Zillow's estimate, which isn't perfect, but it tells you something, it's gone up $200,000. So basically in 5 years, the house paid for itself, gave me a little extra money, but I don't see it. I just keep that in its own bank account. But now it's cash flowing even more, right? Like $12,000 a year net. And it also went up $200,000. So that's why it's so valuable to, you know, do wholesaling, learn the skill of how to identify a great real estate deal and get paid along the way for doing it.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.